At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way. Offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word, and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. You are listening to Jester Section Hiker, the premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers. And I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. Before I fill you in on what's happening on today's episode, let's hear about our sponsor for the Mountains to Sea Trail specific episodes. I am excited to announce that the podcast episodes that are specific to the Mountains to Sea Trail are now being sponsored by the MST Guide by Pocket Trails. The MST Guide is the most comprehensive app for maps and navigation developed for the Mountains to Sea Trail, providing unprecedented information and ease of access for day hikers, section hikers, and through hikers. Never get lost again. Updated maps with trail route changes and everything you need from parking areas, camping locations, water sources, and more. Available now for download through Google Play and coming soon for the iPhone. Check it out and download today. The MST Guide by Pocket Trails. Follow the lines in the palm of your hand. For this episode, I am back continuing my quest to hike all 40 day hikes from the book Great Day Hikes on North Carolina's Mountains to Sea Trail. Hike number 14 is a very special hike because it revolves around the trail town of Elkin, North Carolina. Elkin, North Carolina is a town that has revived itself over the last few years, focusing on creating a town that is full of community involvement and outdoor activity. As you will hear shortly, the town loves the fact that the Mountains to Sea Trail goes right through the center of town, and the Elkin community is building around that trail town vibe. In addition to my normal recap of the day hike, today you are going to hear from Leslie Schlender, who is with the Town of Elkin Economic Development, and then you will hear from Bill Blackley, who talks to us about the Elkin Valley Trails Association. After my chat with Leslie and Bill, I recap day hike number 14, and as you will hear, that ended up being a pretty special hike. Oh, and by the way, please forgive me for my sound in this episode. I actually had a mic on my guest and a separate mic on me, but I guess my mic decided not to function properly. The good news is Leslie and Bill sound great. And interviewing with mask on presented a whole new challenge with the audio. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the podcast. And if you are new to the show, I appreciate you joining in on the fun. And now on to hear more about the great town of Elkin, North Carolina. All right, you guys, really appreciate you coming back to the podcast. And yes, this is another episode featuring the Mountains to Sea Trail. And I'm getting ready to go out and hike number 14 from the book Great Day Hikes on North Carolina's Mountains to Sea Trail. But first, I am actually sitting in the town of Elkin, North Carolina, where hike number 14 takes place, and I am at the Elkin Valley Heritage and Trail Center, which I've been told is about a block from the Mountains to Sea Trail. And sitting with me is Leslie Schlender from the Town of Elkin. So welcome, Leslie.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for having me.
Did I say your last name right?
You did.
Okay.
You did. Very good.
All right, I pronounced it 2 or 3 times, so just wanted to make sure. So Leslie is going to fill us in today about why the Mountains to Sea Trail is so important for the economic development of the town of Elkin, because I'll just go ahead and say everybody that I've talked to over these last several weeks has asked me if I've been to Elkin, and I'm finally here. So Leslie, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role for the town of Elkin.
All right. And again, thank you for being here. We're glad you took that advice and came to Elkin.
I wouldn't miss it now.
Yeah, we do have a lot to offer, and the trail's just one wonderful part of what we have to offer. And you asked what my role is, and it has to do with supporting the businesses that are here, and also trying to invite folks like you, visitors, to the town through the tourism efforts that we have for Elkin. And keeping a good balance. Obviously, we're a small town. We want to stay small, but we need to grow our economy so that we can support the folks that are here and the new folks coming in. So that's a lot of what my role has to do. And the trail itself, it's really reinvented this town. It used to be an industrial town. It still is. We do still have large industry here, but not the kind of heritage industry that North Carolina is known for, the textiles and the furniture, all that offshored in 2008. So since then, instead of becoming Tumbleweed City, we decided, let's put our boots on and reinvent ourselves, and the trail is a wonderful part of that. And the businesses that are now coming along to support that trail and the trail users and that experience is a huge part of where we're going to go in the future, I think.
And that is great. And I think, I didn't realize when I got here, the young lady working here, she gave me a wealth of information. I didn't realize this building also acts as the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
And talk to us a little bit about what this building offers to hikers.
All right. We built this. This was a disused lumber yard, and we took this building and reinvented it as well to be a trail center, be a focus of what the Elkin Valley has to offer, not just the trails, but of course the vineyards. I don't know if you know, but there's over 30 vineyards within 20 minutes of downtown Elkin.
I had no idea. I know when I go north on 77, I see the signs for the vineyards, but I had no clue there were that many.
Yeah. So that's the trails and the vineyards, all that complements each other, and this building was a place for us to tell that whole story. So if you were just coming for the trail, you'd come in here and pick up your map, but then also have that aha moment of like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize there are all these vineyards and there's all this other stuff to do. I need to come back, or I need to stay longer. So that's what this center was built to do, and also to support another trail that's here is the Over Mountain Victory National Historic Trail. It's actually a National Park Service trail.
Oh, wow.
Huge asset. Yeah. So, we are this really unique place where we have this confluence of all these trails. So the Mountains to Sea Trail, a National Park Service trail, and a state paddle trail. So again, this center supports all those users to the degree of not just offering the maps and information, but you can lock up your backpack and spend a day in town not having to lug your pack around. You can take a shower.
That is an amazing plus.
Yep. You can recharge your batteries, whatever those might be, and take a shower here and go on your way. So it supports all through hikers or even day users, whether you're paddling, again, the state trail, or being a section hiker through the Mountains to Sea Trail and you need to take a break. This is the place to come do it. We've got rocking chairs out front. The whole point was not just to grab a map, but to sit down and enjoy it and really learn about it and take a break.
And I think that's great. And I'll be honest with you, from a hiker perspective, as a hiker, and this seems crazy, but anybody that's a hiker will know, one of the first things I did when I came here is I went and checked out the showers in the bathroom.
They're nice too, aren't they?
They're very nice.
Yeah.
Extremely nice.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you guys had lockers, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, and another thing too, I'm thinking about section hikers and day hikers. What a great place to park.
Yep.
Put your things, grab the map, go out, take on a section of the Mountains to Sea Trail, or even the Over Mountain Victory Heritage. I don't know if that's a particular driving route, or can people hike that?
You can hike it. There is a section of trail just across from the Heritage Center that starts going west towards Wilkesboro, where the other trail, where it connects to that trail that's on the ground as well. So that is an off-road section. But yeah, this is a great place to park. We have different folks even picking up for the vineyards here too. So you could do a day hike and come back and jump on a shuttle to go out to the vineyards. So it's a great little spot to start and finish from.
Amazing. And we can't go forward without talking about, we're in COVID times, whatever that means right now. Here we are, end of November, getting ready to be Thanksgiving. And the Mountains to Sea Trail, Elkin, is still welcoming people. Mm-hmm. And you want people here. You want people to experience the town. You want people to experience the various trails, and obviously the vineyards. Which the gentleman who drives, I guess, the vineyard van.
Yep, the Elkin Vine line.
Yeah, he was telling me that there's one like a mile from here. Mm-hmm. So I think before I leave town, I've got to at least go out and drive and see it. But from a hiker perspective coming in, and you guys have opened your arms and you're welcoming hikers no matter what the times are, because you want people to come to the town, there's also this other, I don't know if I want to call it a stigma or if there's a right word for it. So if I'm a Mountains to Sea Trail section hiker, through hiker, or I've been out doing day hikes, the trail's broken down in these three regions: the mountain region, the Piedmont, and the coastal plains. And Elkin is the very first fully functional town, I would say, that hikers are going to hit in the Piedmont region. And you and I discussed this before we started recording. That can be awesome because people start to get on their bikes or start thinking about paddling the Mountains to Sea Trail, or it can be a little, now I'm getting ready to hike on the roads. Right. So how is the town of Elkin embracing hikers that are going to be experiencing all different emotions when they get here?
Right. Well, I think it is what it is. It's a transition zone. So you take it as it is of, this will be a great place to reload or change it up, like you said, or a great place to start and head into the mountains. So again, you're going to grab your goods and you're going to get washed up from going through the Piedmont if you're heading west. You stay with one of our trail angels and off you go west into the mountains, or vice versa. It's that transition of like, what? It's been great in the mountains, but I'm ready for a little dose of, some different spicy food that I'm not carrying on in my pack, or, take in a show at the Reeves and see some people, remind myself why I love North Carolina so much, and then carry on through the Piedmont and off to the coast. So, I think it's really how you look at it, but I think it's a wonderful, if you head a day to do it, it takes in so much of North Carolina, where you're going through small town, you're going through the foothills and into the mountains, and we're blessed with having a river, so you have that sort of that natural transition from a lowland to a highland, plus a really neat little town here to embrace you and for you to kind of check out and visit.
Well, you sold me, I can tell you that right now. I'm thinking about the river, the lowlands, and the highlands. So what are the amenities of Elkin? We know there's trails now. We know there's, the paddling river. We know there's vineyards. Like, what are some cool restaurants in towns? And I don't think we can leave this interview, Leslie, without talking about the Trail Angels, because you mentioned the Trail Angels. So let's go with maybe some amenities, some awesome restaurants, and I think you mentioned, is Reeves a theater?
Yep.
Okay, so talk to us about that, and then we'll go to the Trail Angels.
Sure. Well, we have Southern on Main. We have, just types of restaurants. We have pretty much anything that you would want. So if you're kind of tired of your pack food and you want something spicy, or you want something, good old Southern Brussels sprouts with bacon.
I don't know about that, but
I know. Trust me, if you don't like Brussels sprouts, you'll love these. I've tried it on my own husband. He loves them. But yeah, they're served at Southern on Main. So, we have white tablecloth restaurants all the way to just, a good old hot cup of coffee and a good cup of coffee with some bakery items. So you have anything that you could want in this small town, in a small town package. So again, it's not overwhelming, and I think that's what those of us who live here really appreciate about Elkin is we don't have to go to the big city for those things. And especially right now, we're really appreciating where we are. And that's too why I think we're still inviting folks or open to people, because I mean, trail hiking and being outside, as we know, is a safe activity. It's a good thing to do, and our restaurants are set up to serve those folks in a safe way, just like really the rest of North Carolina. But we have it in a small, safe package. And you mentioned the Trail Angels, and that does lead me into the Reeves Theater story, though, too. I remember going to a show there, which, for those of us who live here, we leave most of the shows at the Reeves and say, I can't believe we're in Elkin. I can't believe I just saw that quality of music here. And there's no reason we can't, because, again, the actual facility is amazing. They spent a lot of good time putting an investment into sound, so it's really good, high quality. But I met a hiker there, and she goes, well, I've stayed an extra whole week just because my trail angel is showing me all these great things to do in Elkin. So not only have I got a load of wash done, but I've really enjoyed being here, and I'm thinking about moving back or moving to Elkin.
Wow.
Which is amazing. I mean, that's really part of what the wonderful asset of the trail is for us. Is it's a great way to introduce people to this wonderful way of life that we have, and you can jump on the trail here in town. You can do it by mountain bike. You can obviously go paddling, but just the trail in Elkin, you can walk out to a vineyard, and from that vineyard walk to a campground that has an ice cream shop. I mean, so
that sounds good to me.
I know. So I mean, you can do the authentic head down, looking at the map hiking thing when you get up to Stone Mountain or the Blue Ridge Parkway. But you can also do the other thing where it's it's a good family event to introduce people to hiking, and you can grab an ice cream cone or a show at the Reeves along the way.
I think that's great. So in the town of Elkin, let's get back to this Trail Angel kind of network, so to speak. And I've talked about this on the podcast before. The hikers rely heavily on Trail Angels for this trail, which could mean they let people tent in their yards. Maybe they have, a room over their garage, that type of stuff, versus a lot of hostels on the trail and a lot of shelters.
Yep.
So you don't have to give specifics about the Trail Angels in town, but what can a hiker expect if they contact a Trail Angel?
Well, how's the best way to say this? All of them are pretty much involved with the Elkin Valley Trails Association.
Okay.
So they are through and through trail people. They understand what the needs are of a hiker, whether you're doing it, again, by couch surfing along the way, or you have, a carriage house that's on offer. But one of the perks I know for one of our angels is they're involved with one of the local breweries. So, of course, they're going to bring you down to the Angry Troll and introduce you to a flight of the craft beer there.
That's another draw to Elkin, just the craft beer brewery right there. I mean, hikers are like, yes, I know I'm getting to a brewery kind of thing.
Yeah. But I mean, the main thing is they are trail people. They understand what you're going to ask and what you're going to need, and that's why they are the angels that they are. They're there to support the hikers. So.
Well, Leslie, what do you want to leave our listeners with as far as the town of Elkin, hey, get a taste of the trail? What do you want to leave us with?
I think before you decide to head out for a day hike, make sure you do choose Elkin. Come here. We know we're not right smack dab in the middle of the mountains, but we are that good transition point. I think you'll be amazed at how the trail fits within our community and how we really are a trail town and that trail vibe. So I think it's a great way to set yourself off into the mountains that will wave you off and hope you'll come back, again, time and time again. Plus, coming through town the other way, that, a wonderful place to refresh yourself and head on out through the Piedmont. But I think once you come to Elkin, you'll realize in a real quiet trail-like manner how much we have to offer and how welcoming it is.
And I will say thank you very much, Leslie. And also, I mean, we have listeners listening to this podcast that are outside of North Carolina, and I have a funny feeling you're going to get some visitors. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time and speaking with me. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, Julie. Thank you for coming to Elkin.
Welcome to the podcast, Bill.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, Bill and I have been chatting for a good 30 to 40 minutes. I've already heard him play the harmonica. It has been great. So, Bill, without further ado, tell us about the mission, or what is the Elkin Valley Trails Association?
Well, it's a group of volunteer citizens who have band together to be of service to our greater community, the town, and Surrey, Wilkes, and Yadkin County, mostly Wilkes and Surrey County, because that's where the trail runs through that we're working on. And our idea from starting this organization, we started as a group called Vibrant Elkin, and our whole goal was really to help our commissioners, our town commissioners, our mayor, our staff of the counties, and stretch the tax dollars so that we got more for our buck and more for our time and energy, and we felt like we could do some things that maybe employees or couldn't do, or commissioners couldn't do, and we could find some new angles. We did a lot of research, and we decided to help recruit some business to clean up and reorganize the entrance into our town, which this building turned into part of that project. And then we discovered that what people really liked, we searched this out, when they moved someplace, was what could they do? And they liked out-of-door things, lots of activities, space, and we had a lot of natural resources. We had the Yadkin Valley, Yadkin River Blue Way already here. Right. The Overmountain Victory Trail, a national historic trail, is right here in town.
I just learned about that today. Awesome.
And of course, and then at that time there were 5 potential prongs of the Mountain to Sea Trail that were coming through Elkin. But nobody had done like a lick of work in 40 years on starting the trail between Stone Mountain and Elkin to Pilot Mountain. So
talk to us about that, because you mentioned something just before I hit the record button that I think would be vital for the listeners, is the trail did not used to go through the town of Elkin, and now it does. So tell us that.
Oh, sure.
Tell us that story.
Well, when the trail was conceived, one of the routes was coming through Roaring River. There were 5 different potential routes, and they were just waiting for some spark to start some building or digging or something on one of those 5 routes between Stone Mountain and Pilot Mountain. And when we formed up, we said, hey, why don't we rebuild the Elkin and Allegheny Railroad, which is a trail that was a charter in 1896 and then a second charter in 1905 to build the Elkin Allegheny Railroad from Elkin to Sparta up through Stone Mountain. So we jumped on that and started building a trail. We put in a 140-foot bridge. We built about a mile or 2 of trail. We were just building, going on the old rail bed.
Amazing.
And then of course the Mountain to Sea Trail people took notice. All of a sudden, somebody was building something there. And so we started our own master plan here in town, and we had raised all our money because we were a nonprofit group, we were just, right. And we were working with the Rail Trail Association at the time, and raised some money through that, and they helped us quite a bit. And so. Where was I?
So now we're to the point where you've raised the money, the Mountain to Sea Trail organization took notice, and now... Then they decided to take over the master plan. That's what it was. Okay.
And
Mountain to Sea Trail organization.
They did. They took over, and they paid for it, and organized it, and Destination by Design did the plan, and they checked with...
Did it say, what year did it officially say, boom, we're going?
I would say that was in 2012 or 13, so right in there.
Not really that long ago.
Oh no. There were no trails here at the time. So when they saw what was happening, they checked with the other places, other trail areas, and nothing was going on there, and they didn't seem to get any interest. And then they had us, and we all of a sudden were several hundred people all of a sudden, and working on trails and building and raising money and having hundreds of hours of volunteer time given, building trail and planning and designing.
Working on trails this morning, I think, before you and I met. So, and thank you for that. So, what an undertaking for the EVTA and then the rail to trail, to go from, the town all the way out to Stone Mountain or Sparta?
Yeah, that's what we're planning. Of course, it's not. So since we've started, we've built about 21 miles of trail.
And that's a lot. Even to build a mile of trail is an
Yeah, now some of this is granite dust, hard compacted, done with bulldozers, which we raised money to pay for. And the town has been involved, the county's been involved, and all that. But mostly it's the trails have sort of directed it. But a lot of it is also footpath trail, like horse trail and bike trail and hiking trail, just out in the woods, through the woods. Most of it has been through private property, which is a lot different than going through, but where our goal is to connect the two state parks and have it come through Elkin. And
when you say state parks, you're talking about Stone Mountain,
Pile Mountain, yes.
That would be amazing.
Yes.
On trails to connect those two areas with Elkin right in the center. I can't think of a better plan if I'd have thought it myself.
Yeah, well, people like the plan, and we have a lot of people that are interested. There's I don't know, maybe we've just run into a lot of people who are interested in the common good.
Yeah.
They want to do something good for the community and are willing to get up, get out, get dressed, get going, and build something. And like this morning, we had like 8 or 10 of us were out there just blowing leaves and cleaning up some of the water issues on the trail and digging drainage ditches. And we do that twice a month.
Already this morning.
Been in the trenches, yeah. So we meet on the first Thursday of every month and the third Saturday of every month. And before COVID hit, it would not be unusual. We have had work days of 100 people show up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We've had entire football teams come.
That is amazing.
Entire girls basketball teams come. The Beta Club from schools will show up and work. Whole school system, like the community school, has come and built their own garden out there.
I love that.
And we've had somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 high school senior and Eagle Scout and Girl Scout and club projects like the Garden Club, or individuals doing their senior projects or Eagle Scout projects, and we mentor them. We work with them. They have a connection through the trails. We help them find their project. We've done anything from surveying the river for QRS, danger points, and hazards to 40-foot bridges. Wow. These young boys and girls have built these things, and they bring in their parents, they bring in their churches, they bring in other citizens. And when you get through, it's a great big hip hip hooray, and like this. I
got to tell you, Bill, after listening to you and Leslie, I'm hard pressed not to find a place to live in Elkin and get going on this stuff. You talking about, just the volunteer network, the stuff that you guys are doing with the local schools. And I think you mentioned earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys all this is free. Everybody doing this is volunteer.
Yes, right. Everybody in the Elkin Valley Trails is a volunteer, so we have no paid staff. We do work closely with the town, and they help us a lot, but with both counties. If they have some extra equipment for some particularly hard thing we have to do, they will loan us equipment, and they will actually occasionally give us some money to build something that they... So this bridge we're getting ready to dedicate next Sunday, it'll be about this time the podcast is done, it'll be dedicated, but it's a 55-foot bridge, pedestrian bridge. It's huge and beautiful, and we built that thing for less than $14,000, because of donated materials and time.
How far is that bridge from here?
2 miles, 3 miles.
Okay, so I'm going to get a picture of that bridge, you guys. I'm going to put it in the show notes.
So cool. Okay.
That way, when they're listening to this, they can go, I can go to the show notes and look at it, because you will, like you said, you guys will have dedicated that by the time this episode comes out.
Yep. And if you walk in town the town walk today, there we built a 40-foot bridge, a 75-foot bridge, a 140-foot bridge, and a 178-foot bridge.
I'm looking forward to this hike.
And along the way, we have QR-coded historical signs about what happened where along the river at what time. And also, we have 18 native species tree signs. So if you want to study native species trees, you can do that. Plus, we have a bird walk. If people like birding. And
the moral of the story is, people, between the town of Elkin and their economic development and the Elkin Valley Trails Association, I mean, you guys, this small town is, you're producing. You're producing things for people to do. You're welcoming people to your community. And real quick, before we sign off here, because honestly, I do feel like Bill and I could talk for days and days. But we got some hiking to do, and Bill's got to get back to his trail maintaining. So let's talk about the importance of the MST to the EVTA, the continual importance.
Well, first of all, they give us great guidance. They have a trail guide that they just produced, and they've done a series of day hikes and helps promote us. But mostly, and also they reach out to state officials and politicians to help keep the trail growing and alive. They provide a very nice backbone, and they have an annual meeting. Of course, it's the COVID has kind of messed everything up on that.
Right.
But we attend those, and we have a lot of learning that happens about trail building, off-road access, co-sharing highways, pedestrian and bike plans, all these things that they have got their fingers into. And I'd shortchange the Piedmont legacy trails, which are 12 counties in this region too. They cooperate with all that too. It's a big trail organization too.
Wow.
But the Mountain to Sea Trail, we're the segment 6 task force leaders. Bob Hilliard is the leader of that. But we all pitch in, and we know we're part of the Mountain to Sea Trail. We have nice T-shirts. They have day hikes. They have all kinds of nice things, accoutrements that make it easy to survive when you have a really nifty outside authoritative source. You know, when you've got somebody who's statewide, who's recognized, everybody knows what it is, and publicity, and they know that we know the standards are high, and we got some standards we want to meet or exceed, and so we're excited to be a part of them. And they're great backup and leader, you know.
Exactly.
Role model.
And true, very true. I mean, the Mountain to Sea Trail organization, the more and more I'm learning, the more and more I'm falling in love with what they're doing, and meeting you guys, the EVTA, meeting Leslie, meeting, Les Love, who, I mean, my goodness, I have never joined an organization and literally had someone call me and thank me, ever. And I had an hour-long conversation with Les Love, so
wow,
it shows you right
he's
there.
quite a guy, yeah.
So, Bill, to wrap this up, and like I said, we could go on forever, and thank you again.
Well, thank you. What
do you want to leave? If there is something you want to leave in the listeners' ears and mindset right now about Elkin, about the EVTA, what do you want to leave them with?
If people want to come enjoy some good, down-to-earth people who like to make things for the common good better, come join us. Join our newsletter. Come volunteer one of those days, the first Thursday or third Saturday. You can donate something if you want to. We don't have any big campaign going right at the moment. We are planning a 120 to 140 foot suspension bridge between two cliffs as our next big adventure this spring or summer. But really, what I'd like to say is thank you to anybody who hears this that's out there working for the common good. And I think last year we had 5,000 volunteer hours, counting all the things we do. But each one of those is important to us, each hour. And we'd like you to join us and be a part of us and see who we are. Out there this morning, we were laughing. There were so many puns. I could hardly swing my Pulaski, But it's a lot of fun, and we're making a lot of progress, and we're excited about what we're doing, and we'd just love to have you come join us.
Well, thank you, Bill, and thank you for representing the EVTA, and really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys, I am back. I am coming to you from day hike number 14 in Elkin, North Carolina. It is Saturday afternoon, November the 21st, and I've got to tell you guys, I have had the best afternoon and a private tour through the Mountains to Sea Trail on hike number 14. But first, let me give you the information from the book about this hike. I will stop here. The hike, number 14, Elkin and the E&A Rail Trail goes from downtown Elkin to US 21 at Collins Road. And Collins Road is actually where I'm heading right now. The distance is 3.3 miles one way. Degree of difficulty is easy. And the trail type is paved road, gravel road, and greenway. And right now I am on some awesome gravel road, and the sun is actually going down behind me, which is really, really pretty. The elevation gain for this hike is 404 feet. The loss, 169 feet. The highlights, and what I'm getting ready to tell you guys, the book is not going to do this justice. I'm telling you right now. This is a small downtown history, scenery, and rails to trails and greenway. And you guys have already heard from Leslie with the Town of Elkin, and you guys heard from Bill with the Elkin Valley Trails Association. And you guys, after I wrapped up my chat with Bill, decided that I was starving to death, needed to go get something to eat, and went to, I can't remember the name of the restaurant. It is a brewery and restaurant right across the street from the start of the hike, and was getting my traditional chicken sandwich. And this time I got iced tea with lemon, yum yum. But anyway, got a text from Bill, and Bill says, hey, why don't we join you for the hike? My wife, me, and our dog Scout. And I was like, awesome. And we settled on a time, and I met Bill at the beginning of the hike right in downtown Elkin at the marquee sign there, directional sign that tells you all different places you can go and the mileage. And I will definitely put a picture of that in the show notes. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys my visit to Elkin. I just want to back up again and say thank you to Kate Dixon, Jim Grody, Mary Stewart, and most recently Betsy Brown with the Mountains to Sea Trail organization. Betsy reached out to me and she said, hey, if you're going to Elkin, you definitely need to talk to Leslie, and you definitely need to talk to Bill. They can give you insights on the town. So we did that, and that's what happened. And then, you guys, going on this hike, it was like I hired my own personal tour guides between Bill and Sandy. So when you start the hike, you're literally almost in the heart of downtown Elkin, and you're going by all these various shops. There are art shops, there is a barber shop, there is like a shoe shop, like a legit shoe shop where you can go and get your leather shoes taken care of. There's a vacuum shop, and then when you're heading toward out of town, there's the Reese Theater that Leslie was talking about earlier. And it's like all this history of stuff and what used to happen in the town and what's going on in the town now. And then we get to a point where the trail takes a right-hand turn and goes through, I believe it's the Elkin Municipal Park. And right on the left-hand side is like the old railway conductor house. And Bill was saying that people could rent rooms out of that house, hikers. And he was pointing out another house in the future that the people that own that place might start renting out rooms and things like that to hikers. And you guys, we turned down into the park, and all along the park, and even before you get there, there are these marquees with signage And it is the coolest thing. So they have these QR codes on the signage where, you know, you hit the QR code and eventually, Bill says he's working on it, a video will pop up. And you guys, this is the coolest thing. And for me being an educator, this was like the greatest thing. The high school students are going to pop up on that video, and they are going to be the ones telling you about the history of the railroad that used to go through there, the history of the several mills, the grist mills, the wool mills that used to be along the railroad there. And in addition to that, I can't remember right now, but I am pretty sure you walk by 2 or 3 dams that were obviously connected to mills. And then the history on this walk is unbelievable. And one of the best parts of the walk is not only Bill and Sandy talking and telling us about the history of Elkin and more history about the EVTA, is all the bridges that are along this like parkway now, are in this park. They are phenomenal. And all of this stuff is done by volunteers, raising funds, and people in the town wanting to build these trails and various areas with mountain biking trails and trails that interconnect. And then the big long plan for, you know, the trail system to connect all the way from Stone Mountain, which is where I was for hike number 13. The hub would be the city of Elkin, North Carolina, and then connecting everything to Pilot Mountain, which is actually hike number 15, which I will be doing that. I'm not sure if I'm doing that tomorrow or next weekend, but Elkin episode is actually going to be its own episode, because after talking to Leslie, after talking to Bill, and then you guys hearing me talk about this hike, unbelievable the community presence that is part of this trail system. And, you know, the whole story of how important it was that you guys heard from Bill and Leslie that the Mountains of Sea Trail go right through the town of Elkin, and it does, and it's awesome. And quite honestly, you know, moving out of the mountain region, and now I'm in the Piedmont region. I mean, you're walking along, like right now, I'm literally walking behind somebody's house on just like an old roadbed. And it's awesome. And I know there's road walking to come and all that good stuff, but the history that this trail will bring you going through these towns, and the town of Elkin welcoming you, is phenomenal and extremely hard to beat on a lot of trails that you go on. And oh, I forgot, there are 2 bells that you ring, and I got some video of that. One of the bells that you ring is in memory of a gentleman that helped build the Mountains of Sea Trail in this area. And you just walk by and you ring the bells and you listen to the sound, and it's just like, you know, you're honoring this gentleman's memory, you're thinking about the trail, and it's like, how can we not give back to our favorite trail communities? Like, it's just not possible. We have to keep and continuing to do this. And you guys, I could literally ramble on. I mean, probably for another hour about the wealth of information that I received from Leslie, from Bill, from Sandy. And oh, we also took a side trail. I think it's called the Crooked River Trail, where they're actually trying to reroute the Mountains of Sea Trail. And so we actually took that route, and then Bill walked me back around because I told him I've got to do the hike in the book, and I want to complete that hike like it's supposed to be in the book. And Bill was like, I really like that. So we walked back around, we said our goodbyes, and I am really hoping that the sound turns out in this video, because when we were saying our goodbyes, Bill played Lean On Me on his harmonica, and he said that was really the theme of the Elkin Valley Trails Association, because everybody was leaning on each other to get this trail built. And you guys, I mean, unbelievable. So I am hoping to end the podcast with Bill playing his harmonica. And you guys, if there's one thing I can say, please, please, please get involved in your local trail communities. Begin to make a difference. And all I'm going to say is thank you to the Mountains to Sea Trail organization. Thank you to Leslie. Thank you to Sandy. Thank you for my tour on hike number 14. And I will be back to Elkin, North Carolina, real soon. So thanks again, everybody. Happy trails and happy section hiking. Thank you again to Leslie, Bill, Sandy, and Trail Scout the dog for sharing your hospitality and love for your town of Elkin, North Carolina. I will definitely be back to hike more trails in the area and spend time in downtown Elkin. And by the way, Bill and Sandy, the bread and organic chocolate snack was a perfect treat after the hike. Thank you. Leslie also wanted me to share with you all that if you reach out to her and want more information about the town of Elkin, you can email her and she will send you a little care package with all types of info about the town and more. I will put her email in the show notes. Oh, and Leslie, thanks for the historic town of Elkin buff. I love it. If you like what we're doing here at the Hiking Radio Network, please check out our website at hikingradionetwork.com, containing all of our shows. Subscribe to your favorite shows and consider a donation if you like what we do. Today we end the episode with a special harmonica tune from Bill and a reminder that when we lean on each other, great things can happen. Thanks for listening, everybody, and happy section hiking.
The holidays start here at Baker's with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Baker's has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked-in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Baker's, fresh for everyone.